We initially started it for students who were mostly English as a second language. What we found is that the academic teacher, for example, not only was helping the students whose English wasn't their first language, but it also was helping those students that had not been back to school in many years. And the positive part about that was that the techniques that the ESL department used really benefited those that maybe their basic skills were not up to par to college standards. And so the academic instructor was able to work with both the ESL students and those who needed a little bit more basic instruction. And so we found that one of the things that was really helping was that the teacher was working with them on just some of the terminology as well as accent, but more importantly also was able to bring two communities together that traditionally didn't interact. So even though they were not proficient in English, the ones who were doing the ESL classes, the other students, because they had not been in school as well, they were lacking some grammar in English, so they were studying the same things and they were both benefited. So I think the biggest change that has happened is that students that traditionally didn't work together in the classroom, because of their limited English, are now working together. And we find that both benefits because it's teaching the other students to be patient, to really practice that active listening. Because when somebody is not from your culture, doesn't speak quite, is learning the language, you really have to listen because of accents. And this has been a great practice for our students because that is a competency that they have to master, is good communication skills. In the classroom, we tag teams, so the ESL instructor sometimes does little sessions. So she'll do sessions on how to organize your work. That is also important because it's sort of a basic skill. It's a study strategy on how to ensure that you don't lose your items and you can focus on where things are. And so she does sessions this way that also uses a lot of hand movement and gestures that has helped all the students. She ensures that the students get the notes that she summarizes for them. So at the end of the chapters, for example, she summarizes it in a way that students can understand and remember. So when the class is actually in session, she joins the class. So she actually is a participant in the class. And when we break up into small groups, she helps to make sure that they're in their group. She walks around. Do you have any questions as to what the assignment was? How are you all doing? So she really is a partner in how we are teaching our class. Her assistance in the classroom, because we have large classes, sometimes they're 30, 40, 50 students, and it can be a lot for one teacher, especially if you're doing a lot of small group and there's a lot of questions. If I'm not available, they know that Terry is available, and she is always available for the students. She has had, they just love her. We can't say enough great things about her. The students are probably going to have a better grade because I know Terry is working with them, practicing, asking them questions, preparing them for the quiz, preparing them for the presentation, giving her comments, and so the level of work is a higher grade when I finally get it. This is a model that I think all our classes should have because especially in the CTE programs, which stands for Career Technical Education, at what time they were called vocational programs. And the initial intent of vocational CTE programs was to train students in a specific skill, get them out in the workforce, and that was it. But we find that it's important that we put students on more of a formal path.